Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you joining us for today's session of Run webinar series, an initiative by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India Board of Studies Operations to celebrate excellence, ignite insight, and empower the next generation of finance professionals. So I would first of all, I would like to introduce our chairman, Board of Studies Operation, CA Dr. Rohit Ruvatia sir. CA Dr. Rohit Ruvatia sir is an iconic Central Council member of ICAI and currently serving as chairman of the Board of Studies Operations. Renowned for his visionary leadership, he holds the distinction of being one of the youngest ever managing committee member, regional council member, and central council member in ICI's history. He has contributed for major initiatives for inclusion of ICAI's name in Guinness World Record for the largest career counseling session. He has led impactful programs like Practice Ki Pathshala and the residential training for new COP holders. As chairman, he continues to shape policy and method of practice for CA profession and the aspiring students respectively. Dedicated to student empowerment, he is committed to modernizing CA education through digital platform, innovative learning methods, and industry-related training, making him a key force in redefining the future of the CA profession. So next, I would like to introduce our Vice Chairman, CA Sanjeev Sanghi sir. CA Sanjeev Sanghi sir is a seasoned chartered accountant with over 26 years of experience. He is currently serving as the Vice Chairman of Board of Studies Operations, ICAI. As a Central Council member, he is widely respected for his leadership in digital transformation, capacity building, and professional development. As a capable chartered accountant, he led impactful initiatives like Udan and the Voice of Diamonds. He has actively contributed to various ICI committees and held key positions in professional and social organizations. He is known for his visionary approach. He is committed to empowering young professionals, enhancing auditor ethics, and strengthening ICAI's global presence through innovation and inclusive growth. So, students, today's session is an exciting one and a truly essential skill in the modern financial world. The topic for today is working in cross-cultural finance teams, skills for global CAs. To lead us into this artful territory, we are privileged to have with us our distinguished speaker, CA Kalpesh and Kochar sir. So let me briefly introduce CA Kalpesh sir. CA Kalpesh sir is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India since 2014. He is a partner at K&J and Associates Chartered Accountants, Mumbai, and has prior experience of working with Deloitte with expertise in direct and indirect taxation as well as accounting. He has developed practical solution-oriented approaches to complex issues. Known for his balanced perspective, he combines a youthful understanding of startup and entrepreneurial challenges with mature workable solutions. Let us give a warm welcome to CA Kalpesh sir. Kalpesh sir, over to you.
Thank you, team. Thank you, Institute of Chartered Accountant of India and Board of Study for giving me an opportunity to speak on this topic. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm just sharing my screen. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, sir, it is visible now.
Yeah. So, yeah. Hi, everyone. So, today's topic of session is working in cross-culture finance team, a skill for global CS. So basically, as you know that the opportunities for a chartered accountant not is not expanding not in India but across global. So currently having an understanding on how we should handle the scenarios with respect to cross culture is
Sir,
an
if you can, sorry to interrupt, sir, keep the mic. closer to.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is
Am I audible?
better, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, and in the current scenario, one should have a knowledge how should handle the cross-culture finance team basically. So we'll start with the session. So we'll just give a quick introduction with respect to the current topic, and then we'll move forward with each area by area, and we'll have a detailed understanding with respect to each and every area. So in the past year, the pool of qualified local talent in finance have emerged across the globe because of this all technology and the way the changes are happening across global. The demand and talent of finance is being emerged across the globe. In that time, the team performance have improved. People have become more autonomous, and the level of knowledge and the technical expertise has significantly increased across all the countries. So correspondingly, the culture differences seem to a lessen as common language were used and unified attitude were formed, especially on the cultural sensitive topics. This unity help in creating team spirit, fostering the collective expertise, and facilitating the interaction with headquarters. With time, it becomes the second nature to integrate the culture differences, build team, and adapt to the changes. However, the business environment and the finance function has also changed considerably. So not only the business organization has changed, but along with the business organization, the finance function has also changed considerably. The change has become permanent. Means there is an there is it is not a temporary change, it has a permanent change. We often focus on the technological dimension of transformation, but the nature of organizational transformation is firstly culture. Technological dimension that will be there always, but along with that, organizational transformation is firstly cultural. So in the within the organization, what changes is a cultural, that is most important along with the technological dimension. Hope you got a brief background about the today's session topic. Okay, so we'll move. The cross culture is a critical for several reasons. Why it is critical basically? I have highlighted few of the points why the cross culture is critical for several reasons. So one of the reason the cross culture is critical is that building the trust and engagement. When the teams can effectively communicate across the culture, they can build the trust and engagement with the employee from the diverse background. So the building trust within the team is much important. The next is facilitating collaboration. So friends, basically these are the points due to which the cross culture is important across the globe. And what are the points? So that is facilitating collaboration. Cross culture communication skill enable team to facilitate collaboration between the team and the department across different countries and the region. This is critical for driving the innovation and business growth in the global context. The next is the managing conflict. This is a very important point. The managing conflict, the cultural difference can often lead to misunderstanding and conflict in the workplace. We may see that we can see in our day-to-day life because of the misunderstanding, we can see various conflict has arisen, but there was no intention behind that. So it is very important that the cultural difference can often lead to misunderstanding and conflict in the workplace. Team with the strong cultural communication skill can effectively manage this conflict and find a common ground between the diverse team. So the one having a strong cultural communication skill can cover up this such type of conflict and misunderstanding. Next is attracting and retaining the talent. The companies that prioritize the cross cultural communication are more likely to attract and retain top talent from around the world. This is because employee value working in an inclusive and diverse workplace where the cultural background are respected and valued. This is also very important from the employee side. One, nowadays the global companies are hiring across globe. Not they are only looking for specific their country. So there is an opportunity for all our chartered accountant across globe. So this is very important that the cross culture one should have. How the communication we should manage that way. So next, What are the skill we should have for having an effective cross-cultural communication? So the first skill is cultural awareness. So basically, first I will just walk through, recap it. So first we went to the introduction. What is a cultural, cross-cultural? Then we said that why the cross-cultural is critical for several reasons. So we have went through all the
Sir,
4 points.
actually, your voice is fluctuating. So, can you try without the Bluetooth,
Just a second, sir.
or if it is possible to clip into the collar, just clip into the collar
Just a
because it
second.
is fluctuating and sometimes it is coming very low.
Just a second, sir. Huh?
If you can clip it to the collar, or if you can remove and try without the collar.
Sure, sir. I will just try.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, sir, it is much better now.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Sir, am I audible now?
Yes, sir, audible now.
Is it audible? Screen is visible, man?
No, screen is not visible. You need to share it again.
Screen is visible now.
Yes, it is visible now, sir.
Voice is audible.
Yeah, it is better.
Yeah. हेलो आ रही है आवाज ना अभी अभी आ रही है आवाज ओके ओके ठीक है ओके हेलो
Yes, sir.
या so sorry issue. I will just recap quickly what we have. So basically, the topic of today's session is
Yes.
working the cross-culture finance team. That is what a skill the global CA should have to work under the cross-culture finance team. So basically, we just walk through what exactly cross-culture is. So I will just give a quick introduction. The past year, the pools of qualified local talent in the finance have emerged across globe. In that time, the team performance have improved. People have become more autonomous, and the level of knowledge and technical expertise has significantly increased across all the countries. The cultural differences seem to lessen as common language were used and unified attitude were performed, especially on the culturally sensitive topics. These unity help in creating the team spirit, fostering collective expertise, and facilitating the interaction with the headquarters. With time, it becomes second nature to integrate the cultural differences, build teams, and adapt to the changes. However, the business environment and the finance function has also changed considerably. The change has become permanent. We often focus on the technological dimension of transformation, but the nature of organizational transformation is firstly cultural. So we may see that there is a technological dimension transformation is happening across all the globe. But along with that, the nature of organizational transformation is firstly cultural. That is very important. Next, we'll move the next slide. Is a cross-cultural is a critical for several reasons. Why the cross-culture is critical for the several reasons. So there are 4 points which says that the cross-culture is critical for the several reasons. The first point is the building trust and engagement. When teams can effectively communicate across a culture, they can build a trust and engagement. The employee from a diverse background. So the effective communication is very important so that they can build the trust and engagement within the across the organization or across the company. Next is facilitating the collaboration. The cross-cultural communication skill enable the team to facilitate the collaboration between teams and the department across the different countries and the region. This is critical for driving the innovation and the business growth in the global context. Next is management, managing the conflict. This is very important. The cultural difference can often lead to misunderstanding, the conflict in the workplace. Team with a strong cross-cultural communication skill can effectively manage this conflict and find a common ground between this diversity. This is very important because cultural differences, having a strong background, can manage and can mitigate the misunderstanding and the conflict in the workplace. The next point is attracting and retaining the talent. A company that prioritize the cross cultural communication are more likely to attract and retain the top talent from around the world. This is because the employee value working in an inclusive and diverse workplace where their cultural background are respected and valued. For the so this is from the company perspective because company can prioritize the cross cultural communication. They can have various training across their all the global center or the branches or the across the company so that the employee also feel that their cultural is also respected and the value. So friends, these are the 4 points where due to which the cross culture is very critical. The reason for that. Next slide, we cover that what are the key skills that are required for having an effective cross-cultural communication. So, friend, first we have read the introduction of this topic. Then we have said that why the cross-culture is critical. Now we are moving toward what are the skills one should have for an effective cross-cultural communication. So we are moving in a directions, giving an introduction, why it is critical, and now moving in deeper stage, that is what are the skills that one should have for having an effective cross-cultural communication. So one first in that is a cultural awareness. What is cultural awareness? Understanding the cultural differences. Team needs to understand how the cultural differences can impact the communication, decision making, and interpersonal relationship in the workplace. Recognizing the cultural biases. This is also very important. Team needs to be aware of their own cultural biases and how they can impact their interaction with the employee from the different background. Adapting the communication style. Team need to adapt their communication style, cultural context of the employee and the management they are interacting with. This may involve adjusting their tone, body languages, the choice of word to better resonate with the cultural norms of the audience. So basically, this slides says that one should have a cultural awareness while working on a cultural awareness. So basically, cultural awareness says that we should have different understanding the different cultural, recognize the biases, adapting the communication style. The next is flexibility and adaptability, being open to the new ideas. So always team needs to be open to the new ideas and a perspective from the employees with the different cultural background. You may see in your day-to-day life that each culture, some of the cultural background, have their own different ideas because they come from the different background. This can lead to an innovative solution. You don't know which idea can work and can be miracle at some point of time in the future. So this can lead to an innovative solution and new ways of thinking that can drive the business. So always you should be open to the new ideas when you speak to the multiple people with a different cultural background. Next is adapting the communication style. Team need to be willing to adapt their communication style to different cultural contexts. This may involve adjusting their tone, language, and approach to better resonate with the cultural norms of the audience. This is also very crucial. So now adapting the communication style is very critical. Otherwise, if we don't adapt, we'll not be able to work as a team. So it's for us, it is very important that whatever the cultural communication people we running across us, you should try to get accommodate with that. That will help you a lot. So next is being willing to learn. Team need to be willing to continuously learn about the cultural differences and the communication styles. This involves seeking out the opportunities for the cross-cultural training and education, being open to feedback and the constructive criticism. So being willing to learn. This is also very important. Team should also always think that the learning has to be there about different culture and the communication style. This will definitely enhance their knowledge and it will make their work life very fruitful. Next, active listening. Paying attention to the non-verbal cues. In many cultural, non-verbal communication is just as important as verbal communication. Team needs to pay attention to the body language, facial expression, and tone of voice to fully understand the meaning behind asking, clarifying the question. Team should ask open-ended question to clarify any misunderstanding or gap. This helps to ensure that the both the parties are on the same page and avoid miscommunication. This is very common nowadays when the people having a communication with each other, but people has an open-ended question behind their mind, but they feel regret to ask the opponent whether we should ask or not. But one should be an open and ask the question behind the mind. That will help you to clarify any misunderstanding or the gap in the communication. This helps to ensure that both the parties are on the same page and avoid miscommunication. So asking clarification question is as good as very important. Next is demonstrating the empathy. Teams needs to demonstrate the empathy and respect for the speaker, even if they disagree with their perspective. This helps to build the trust and rapport across the cultural boundaries. So basically, everyone should respect, even if they disagree with their perspective. It is not mandated that everyone should have their same perspective. Each human being can have their own different perspective. It's their own view. Correct? The possibility is there. Many people can have their own multiple views. So as we see covered in the last slide, where we say that adapting the communication style and being open to the new ideas. So I'm just cross-linking that point, demonstrating the empathy, and even don't disagree with their perspective. So that if you don't disagree with the perspective, you will be becoming an open to the new ideas, which we have covered in the last slide. That which says that team to need to be open to the new idea, the perspective of the different cultural background. So if you disagree, you don't know whether that disagree will lead to in a good note or bad. So try to always agree, understand the perspective, and find out what ultimately the conclusion will be from that perspective. It may lead to a good idea. You don't know how it can move, in which direction it can move. Correct? And anyway, in case it doesn't move in the good direction, but at least it will be a giving a learning to you that this can be a possibility, but because of the some reason it cannot happen. So there has to be a willingness to learn. Okay. Next is the conflict resolution. This is very important. We can see across our day-to-day life, we can see many conflicts are we can see. But getting a resolution for conflict is a crucial task and skill. That is also very important. So how to resolve that conflict? So first, you should identify the root cause. What is that root cause for that conflict? How that conflict have arise? So team need to able to identify the root cause of the conflict that has arise due to cultural differences. This may involve asking clarifying question and seeking to understand the perspective of all the parties involved. So it may involve asking to interact with multiple people, multiple question, and number of question. But ultimately, the solution is going to be a very good ending on the positive note because ultimately it is going to resolve the conflict which has arisen. So you don't hesitate that whether I should ask 5 questions, 10 questions, 15 questions. You should always ask the question unless you get a conflict for the a resolution for the conflict. Next is finding the common ground. So we should try to find that team needs to be able to find a common ground between diverse team and an individual. This may involve identifying the shared values, goals, interact that can serve as foundation for collaboration and cooperation. Teams needs to be able to find a common ground, basically. Why this conflict has occurred between the diverse team and the individual. Because Individual will have different goal and team may have a different goal. So coming and bringing both the people on the same ground, it is very crucial. Next is facilitating the open communication. Teams needs to facilitate the open, honest communication between the parties involved. This may involve creating a safe and respectful space for dialogue and encouraging the active listening and empathy. This is also very crucial. It, communication has to be always two-way. It cannot be one-way communication. So let's facilitate for the open communication. Let be an honest communication between the party involved in the conflict. If we go with this path, definitely you are going to get a resolution for the conflict for the cultural differences. Because definitely the understanding in one culture is different and other culture may be different or maybe same. Due to that, conflict may arise. That's why let's have an open discussion, honest communication to resolve that. So friend, so now this were the skill one should have for having an effective cross-cultural communication. So we'll just recap quickly so that everyone are on the same page, and if there is any misunderstanding or a doubt, it will get covered in the recap. So one is cultural awareness, cultural awareness. We learn that understand the difference culture basically. Then recognize the bias, cultural biases basically, adapting the communication style. Communication style adapting is also important. Next point is that being in flexibility and adaptability. First was cultural awareness. First is awareness, being a flexibility, active listening, and conflict resolution. So it's always go in a sequence. Awareness, flexibility, where flexibility and adaptability says that we should be open for the new ideas, communication, adapting, and learning to willing to learn, basically, and active listening. And the last is conflict resolution. I hope everyone are able to understand what are the skills for the having a critical cultural communication. Now, I will just give few real world example of successful cross cultural communication. So, friends, earlier we have learned what are the skills required for the cultural communication, cross cultural. Now, what are the real world examples so that it will give you an actual feel how it is important. So I've given you the few examples basically here. One example is of the Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is a global brand everyone you know. The operation in over 200 countries. The company has a strong focus on the cross-cultural communication and has implemented several initiatives to promote diversity and inclusion in the workplace. One example is the company's diversity and inclusion program, which provide the training and the resources to the employee topics such as unconscious bias, cultural awareness, in the inclusive leadership. The program has helped to create a more inclusive and diverse workspace culture at Coca-Cola, which has turned a diverse business success. So see, friend, how the cross culture has helped Coca-Cola to build a big business success, get a big business success. Next, Airbnb. Airbnb is the same a global platform that connects traveler with the local host in over 190 countries. The company has a strong focus on cross-cultural communication and has implemented several initiatives to promote the cultural awareness and understanding among its employees and the users. One example is the company cultural sensitive training program, which provides an employee with the skill and the knowledge needed to effectively communicate across culture. The program covers topics such as cultural value, communication style, and the conflict resolution, and has helped to create a more inclusive and welcoming platform for the user from across the world. So see, if you see and correlate Airbnb, Airbnb is very important for them to adopt the cultural cross-cultural basically for them because it's a platform, basically a travel platform across globe, across different cultural people are booking the traveling from their portal, understanding what is need for which location people that way. So because of this program, cultural sensitivity, which help the employee to skill and knowledge need to effectively communicate across culture. So these were the two example. I thought I will just uh, brief you so that we get how does it work in all the top MNCs and the companies across globe, and how it helps them to grow their business basically, and how importance of the cross culture is for them. Now we will move to different next slide. Is that the changes we are witnessing involve several distinct shifts taking places. So we have seen that what are the changes basically which we have witnessed involve several distinct shifting takes places. First is in the identity of finance. So in the finance, you can see the robotic automation is happening, blockchain is coming, artificial intelligence, the evolution of enterprise resource planning, ERP, digitalization have all helped improve team efficiency and effectiveness and provide a new horizon in all the finance functions. So basically, this is happening across globe. All these changes are happening. So because of this, the task offshoring and the subcontracting of ERP, the remote working has increased. Friends, but they have also opened up the greater cross-cultural interaction. This is very important. Role handover to this new structure may become more complex if the cultural factors are neglected and operationally efficiency between teams can be affected. Interaction outside of the company with customer clients have increased all the direction, creating more potential culture cross-cultural volatility. So basically, friends, we see that all the AIs is coming, many people are implementing the ERP there across organization on more automated process and everything. So that is increasing more complexity in the cross-cultural interaction, increasing basically the cross-cultural interaction, and which become very more complex if the cross-cultural factors are neglected. So this is very important. Next is in the working culture, basically. Lack of coordination. Communication introduce another risk factor that can seriously impact the finance deliverable because there is a now very limited stack in the process and deadline to react. For instance, in reporting. So in working culture, how the it is impacting. So basically, communication introduces another risk factor. So let's say that in the finance field, the reporting, let's say the reporting as well is another risk where the finance deliverable will lead to another conflict. Next is in generational culture. So digital native generation seeks purpose and show different career and life aspiration, cognitive approach, and attitude toward the relationship and the work. A cross-generational gap driven by the technology and education is growing, challenging, but not yet replacing the traditional social and management codes. This is what- Factoring in the cultural value and belief is crucial to properly addressing this multiple cultural shift. Cultural value helps connect transformation to the local environment and are the compass helping people to navigate the new environment. Next is roadblock to the cooperation. So, what are the roadblocks for the cooperation? We in day-to-day life, various communications are happening across all the different cultural on people, teams, and the organization, and the companies. Ignore or mismanage cultural specific can become an obstacle to resistance, misinterpretation, hesitation, and delay. Negative effect will be more frequent when people are under pressure. When the tension appears in relationship, when the critical management decisions are being made that affect a particular geographical or social group, when important posts are to be filled, when management is at a distance, and when team are at large. So basically, these are the roadblocks because of the cross communication, cross culture. Sorry, not communication. In Asia, a yes can mean a no, while a no or impossible may not even exist in the local business language. People may not publicly express an opinion or raise a question. In some country, people will not admit to having a problem so as not to lose face or they can overcome it today and withdraw tomorrow. The time dimension differs from one place to another. This is very common. We can see very common in our daily life. Historical and cultural incompatibility are in some cases still very much present. And emotional intelligence does not have same resemblance everywhere. The new generation of communication tool, social media, and the long-standing business interaction may create an illusion of an almost perfect cultural environment. But the reality can be different. Not all the cross-cultural challenges are negative, but some can affect the team performance in detailed transformation program, not very. So, friend, basically, we are just going through what are the changes that we are witnessing in our current now. So, first was identifying the identity of finances, where we said that various ERPs are being brought, coming in the market, AI is coming, due to which the cross-cultural challenges are increasing. So, it is very important as well. So, there are various roadblocks to the cooperation that we have seen. Next is in working culture. Now, next we come to the point is build an identity. Create a common identity and way to operate as a team. This does not mean bypassing the local cultural cultures and practice. Create a specific togetherness accepted by all, which will complement but not supersede the cultural specificity. To build this common identity, safe spaces of expression are required. In meeting, through mentoring program and in workshop, where anyone can meet the other and be exposed to differences and ultimately co-create. It is critical to define objectives and the common principle of interaction. Set the pace for collective action and frame the interaction. Be clear about what cannot be compromised or tolerated. Address specific issue in one-to-one mode or what may concern the group of people. This is very important. And just read again once again. Build this common identity. Safe spaces of expression are required. In meeting, through mentoring programs and in workshop where anyone can meet the other and be exposed to the differences and ultimately co-create. It is critical to define objectives and the common principle of interaction. Set the pace for collective action and frame the interaction. Be clear about what cannot be compromised or tolerated. Address specific issue in one-to-one mode only and what may concern the group publicly. Next is encourage the collaboration and empowerment. Build a solid and diverse leadership team with the people convinced by common cross-cultural project. This will help collective learning and organization will build a collective emotional intelligence. In the complex environment, other organization you may encounter, for example, offshore shared services centers or corporate team, will bring their own cultural challenges. Whenever the possible, take the initiative, include them in your team, take their viewpoint into consideration, associate their people to your activity, encourage your team member to proactively interact in as many ways as possible. So, friends, basically, whenever possible, take the initiative. It is not mandatory that the opponent should come and speak to you. You yourself should take an initiative. Try to include them in your team. Understand what exactly they want to communicate. Understand their viewpoint. That's why we said last time also, open for the new idea. Understand their perspective. Okay, so from that, take their viewpoint into consideration. You can then finally decide whether you want to go with that or not. But at least you should have patience to listen their viewpoint and understand. You don't know whether that viewpoint can lead to a good solution for you. Associate their people to your activities. Try to associate, correlate how we can accommodate them basically. And encourage your team member to proactively interact with as many way as possible. Next is offer support. Tools, processes, task organization are a critical part of transformation. But the social and the human dimension is what will make it a success or failure. Hence, you know that tools, processes, we say across organization, many processes, tasks, tools, and everything that are very critical. But along with that, social and human dimension is what will make success or failure because that is also as critical as the tools, process, and task organizations are. You need to progress on both the sides in parallel, making sure that all the teams are properly equipped for change. The impact of transformation may be perceived in different ways. So basically, let's progress in both the sides, making sure that all the teams are properly equipped for the change. The impact of the transformation may be perceived in different way depending on the countries and the culture. We don't know what is the impact will be, or we have estimated the impact basically. But the end conclusion till that time we reach, but at least make sure that both the teams are equipped with for the change. Collecting the regular feedback from the employees and line manager through the survey will help. So basically, the whole perspective of this slide is that we should, in what way we can offer and support that will motivate them. So collecting the regular feedback from the employees, the line manager through a survey will help. Supporting and coaching line manager will decide. Creating a transformation team, even a virtual one, can help in that respect. Providing local support for multiple activities being undertaken by various people. Even with the now next is listen. So now first one was offer support. Now next is listen. Even with the experience, you cannot pretend to understand all the cultural aspect. Your own bias will alter your judgment. Understand this is very important. Even with your experience, you cannot pretend to understand all the cultural aspects. It's very true. Your own biases will alter your judgment. To counter that, spend time with your people in one-to-one open conversation with no preset agenda. Let it be very open discussion, no agenda, a casual discussion, open-ended discussion with an honesty in a collective session. Encourage them to contribute to the group. Encouragement has to be there. Identify the local talent whom you trust, who can coach you, who can guide you on the local cultural specificity. specificity. Develop relationship with them. Ask for the feedback and recommendation. This can help you to appreciate the different approaches problem on the relations. Do not bring your own solution. See, own solution is always there, but try to get a feedback and recommendation from people. This will always give an additional output for you, additional direction for you. Next is reading report is not an enough. You need to meet people, experience the cultural fact, challenge your own biases in the field, interact with people in their context, get a sense of this is very important. You need to meet the people, experience the cultural fact, understand it, try to challenge your own bias in their field, interact the people in their field, and get a sense of it. Best way is to passionate and curious, observe, listen, experiment, learn, and last but not least, be best way is to passionate and curious, observe, listen, experiment, learn, and last but not least, be humble. So, friend, basically, if you see all the slides, what we have been going through in last couple of minutes, the outcome says that how the cross culture is important across the globe for the chartered accountants. Because the way the technology is evolving, changes are happening, artificial intelligence is changing the entire existing process, way of working of team member. And same way, the opportunities are also getting increased. So the challenges cross cultural is so complexity, not challenges. I will say complexity in the cross cultural are also increased. So I will just quickly recap where are currently we and what we have studied. So basically, friend, we studied that why the cross cultural is critical for several reasons. Then we studied that skill for effective cross cultural communication because the skill basically. First, we understand what is a criticalness. What is the skill that is required for having a good effective communication? Then we went through few examples, real life example, how the company are implementing at their level the cross cultural programs to drive their business success, to make to enhance for the growth opportunity. Then we went through the changes which we are witnessing involving various shifts basically, not only in the technology application or software side, but on the working pattern side as well. We have seen that various changes are happening because of the culture roadblocks basically. So we see that there are various roadblocks that cultural challenges are increasing. Just like I said in last time, the last slide, in Asia, yes can be a no, while in no or impossible may not even exist in a local business language. People may not publicly express an opinion or raise a question in some countries. People will not admit to having a problem so as not to lose face. They can overcome it today and withdraw tomorrow. Then we study build an identity. So always try to build an identity, though whichever culture it is. Building an identity is an important. Build an identity on your own as well as try to build an identity for your teammates in the group that will help you and them to get accommodate. Overall, ultimately, it is going to help a business organization for their business success, to drive a success. Then we studied encourage the collaboration and the empowerment. How the collaboration within the team is important because nowadays the opportunities in respect to offshore shared services has drastically increased. Just like give an example of GCC Center. So nowadays the GCC Center are being expanding on the larger scale. So the organization, the firm should have cross-cultural policies or training to implement that, which will help them for their business success, to drive their business success. Try to offer support basically. And then last, what we was listen basically. So try to listen basically. Try to get feedback, recommendation, which will help to understand. We will get a different approaches to the problem or the conflict which has arisen. So the best way is to passionate and curious and observe and listen the experiment learn. Last but not least, be humble. So, friend, I hope I have covered today's topic, all the areas, and hope you have understood. I think the last 10 minutes we'll just keep an open for question and answers. So we'll take one by one.
Okay, so sir, I will just read out the question.
Yeah, sir.
1 minute. So the first question is, what are the most common cultural barriers that chartered accountants face while working in global finance teams, and how they can be overcome? Cultural barriers that chartered accountants face while working in global finance teams and how they can overcome.
So basically, if you see, it's very good question. So basically, if you see how it is going to affect, so let's say in India, the December in the overseas, basically the US, let's say the December is entire being in holiday mood basically. Whereas in India, for us, the holidays are very different. Okay, so the timing gap and the working days between India and other countries create a large challenges for us in managing their day-to-day work life basically. So to overcome, so these are the problem basically, major problem in a day-to-day life we are going to face for the chartered accountant. One is the time gap, another one is the holiday pattern, what they follow and what we follow. That is also completely different. How to overcome that? The overcome the solution is that we have to ensure that if whenever we know the planning is ultimately the solution for this. So we'll come to know that the next month there is a holiday for entire 1 month. They haven't whatever maybe the holiday or festival maybe for next 10 days is not there. So we should ensure that our planning for next 10 days, the organization has been completed so that our work doesn't get affected and our effectiveness also not also get affected. So planning is very important. How do we ensure that our plan for next 10 days is appropriately covered up?
So, sir, next question is, how can a CA ensure ethical consistency while respecting diverse cultural business practices?
So basically, uh, I will say that the one should always try, as mentioned in my last slide, that try to understand the perspective. Be open for the what they want to communicate. Understand their perspective, what is, and then see whether their perspective will lead to a ultimate solution or not. It may lead to a good idea or not, but at least try to understand what perspective it is. It will help you a lot.
So, next question is, how should a CA handle a situation where cultural hierarchy clashes with professional independence in decision making? Hello, sir, can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ah,
So I think there was some internet connectivity issue. So,
yeah, yeah.
sir, next question is, how should a CA handle a situation where cultural hierarchy clashes with professional independence in decision making?
Cultural hierarchy. Uh,
Clashes with professional independence in
so
decision
I
making.
understood. So as we have mentioned in the last slide, in past slide, that it will ultimately lead to a conflict. So the conflict resolution is ultimately the conclusion for this solution for this. So I to find what are the grounds for that, how we can balance that, and that way we can get it resolved. So conflict resolution will cover up this particular question.
So, sir, next question is, how can global exposure and cross-cultural experiences improve a CA's leadership potential?
Sir, can you repeat, please?
Yeah. How can global exposure and cross-cultural experiences improve a CA's leadership potential?
Sir, definitely it is going to increase because let's say someone, the global company wants to set up an organization, let's say a factory in particular area of that particular country. So they will be needing a particular local or people for setting up the factory. They will always prefer to that only. So that way the opportunity is definitely is going to be there for them. So that way the opportunities are there. Basically, the one has to tackle from that perspective. The organization who want to set up a particular factory or unit or whatever maybe, it can be service oriented unit or manufacturing oriented entity. They will preferably look for a people, local people only, because setting up a particular manufacturing industries or setting up a particular GCC center, a particular city or a town or tier 2, tier 3 city will prefer to have a person particular located in that area.
So, sir, next question is how can language differences impact collaboration in multinational finance teams, and what strategies can mitigate the challenges?
Yeah, this is very good question. So basically, if we see that it will create a misunderstanding. First is that different languages will create a misunderstanding, though the intention is not that, but there will be misunderstanding and it will ultimately lead to a conflict. So for that, try to first understand. In case if we are not able to get understand of what exactly the communication is, let's have a view, let's have a proper training program in the organization so that everyone are updated with all the local languages across the team they are having, so that at least and they have a specific person, expertise person with respect to that local languages the companies the team companies having, so that in case if the particular person has challenges, he can reach out to that particular person for the clarification or understanding to avoid the misunderstanding and the conflict.
Sir, next question is what are some effective methods to build trust in culturally diverse finance teams?
Different culture.
What are some effective methods to build trust in culturally diverse finance team?
Correct. So the trust, I mentioned that for trust, first try to understand what the opponent wants to say. Make sure that whenever we speak with them, we are speaking plus from the honest perspective. Let it be with open communication. Don't be a close-ended discussion. Let it be an open-ended discussion. Be patient to understand what the opponent wants to say. Hear them out. That will lead to a good communication and a discussion that will end on a good note, which will ultimately create a trust between both the parties.
So, next question is what role does adaptability play in successfully managing cross-border relationships, client relationships? Adaptability.
Effective communication, respect, perspective, and open discussion.
Okay. And next question is in what ways can misrepresentation of communication style lead to errors in global financial reporting or audit assignments?
So basically, misunderstanding. So we just give an example with an example, give an answer with an example, let's say. So for us, we'll say that we need to report to our parent company, which is based out in the US. So I need to prepare a financial statement ending December 2000, let's say 24. So we'll prepare that financial statement there and we'll submit to the US company. But we don't know whether how that US company is going to take that financial, whether they are going to incorporate it as it is, where they are going to submit it. So understanding the need of that financial statement is very important because you don't know whether that financial statement are as it is going to be merged, consolidated, or going to be reported or submitted to some external party, and what is the implication of that. So this will lead to a misunderstanding because behind our mind, we will be thinking that this will require for the internal purpose, but ultimately the requirement for that is something else. So such type of case will lead to misunderstanding. So having an open discussion, clarification is very important in such cases.
So these are the questions, sir. You, if you want to give any concluding remarks, you can give your concluding remarks.
So, friends, I hope everyone has went through the session and hope understand the concept of how the cross-cultural communication and other things are very important nowadays for a global chartered accountant across globe, because the way the market opportunities and everything are increasing. The demand of this cross-cultural communication is very much increasing. Hope you had a good session and learning from this session. Thank you, ICI, for giving and Board of Study for giving this opportunity for me to present in front of everyone on this topic.
Thank you so much, CA Kalpesh sir, for this insightful and power-packed session on working in cross-cultural finance team skills for global CAs. You have truly shown us that beyond just crunching numbers, it's how we communicate them that drives real decisions. To all our participants, thank you for your presence and enthusiastic engagement today. We also thank our chairman and vice chairman, sir, for taking this initiative. And let's continue the spirit of learning as part of Run webinar series and take every opportunity to grow as future ready professionals. Students are requested to join this Run series every Tuesday and Friday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Until next time, take care and keep learning. Thank you, CA
Thank you.
Kalpesh.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
sir.
so much.
Bye.
Bye. Technical team, please close the session.